So were you the nanny or were you the girlfriend?
When we had opportunity, I still slept with him.
So you were both.
Tonight on 2020, the notorious murder case of the doctor with the perfect life and the perfect wife until she was found dead in a bathtub.
She is unconscious, she's underwater.
He said, I'm getting away with murdering my wife. And he goes, oh no, I'm glad the is dead.
And what about the nanny named Gypsy who entered the picture?
It looks like you've come in to claim your prize.
Gypsy Jillian Willis.
Her name is Gypsy.
Gypsy Jillian Willis. The person coming over's name was Gypsy.
Tonight, the whole story. Grieving daughters forced to play detective against their own father.
And I was just screaming. Killed her.
And the question that remains, was the nanny part of the whole scheme?
And she's actually the girlfriend to the funeral.
You crashed her funeral?
I realized that it looks pretty cold on the outside.
Pretty cold? It looks callous.
The Perfect Nanny. Here now, Elizabeth Vargas and David Muir.
As we come on the air tonight, a doctor and husband sits behind bars waiting to learn just how long he'll be there for murdering his wife. A case that's now back in the headlines because tonight a key player is talking to Elizabeth.
That's right, David. I've covered this story since it first began more than 5 years ago, and one question kept coming back. How could such a picture-perfect marriage crumble so quickly, ending with pills and murder, and a healthy wife found dead in a bathtub? And did it have anything to do with the family's perfect nanny? Or was she?
Michelle Summers was a fresh-faced beauty queen from California, a sometime model with a string of suitors. But it was a handsome, aspiring doctor named Martin McNeil who made her fall hard and fast. They eloped when Michelle was 21 and soon afterward started a family.
She had 4 kids in 5 years, so we were just boom, boom, boom.
Alexis and Rachel McNeil grew up idolizing their father.
We thought, what an inspiration to become a doctor, to become a lawyer.
I wanted to, follow in my father's footsteps. I always wanted to be a doctor, just like him.
A doctor who didn't just help heal his patients, but who also taught Sunday school at their local Mormon church, and who seemed to have a heart big enough to adopt 3 young Ukrainian orphans, Elle, Giselle, and Sabrina.
So from the outside looking in, it sounds like the perfect family.
Yeah.
If you're thinking it seems too good to be true, you're right. Take a closer look at the picture-perfect patriarch, and a different image begins to emerge.
Not the typical father. He was just very,
very haughty,
stern,
kind of
haughty, arrogant.
Mm-hmm. He thought anyone that was not at his educational stature was very beneath him. He treated them very poorly.
The only 2 things I want you to learn in school. Number 1, how to use the English language effectively. Number 2, how to effectively use money.
When the family moved to the Utah community of Pleasant Grove, next-door neighbors Doug and Christy Daniels couldn't help but notice the contrast between Martin and Michelle.
She was very quiet, was always very pretty and very well kept.
All the girls were just dressed perfect, like a tea party.
But the Daniels say Martin was a braggart and a bore.
If Martin was ever around, it was him that always dominated every conversation. You could tell that he had a huge ego.
He just made sure to say that he was downsizing into his home and that he was a doctor and a lawyer.
Martin's adoring daughters often found themselves apologizing for their dad.
Everybody hated him.
Everyone hated him.
I was constantly trying to explain my father. When he'd come home, he was a completely different person. So we thought we knew the real person.
It was when Martin turned 50, his daughters say, that the quirks they'd always defended turned stranger. He became obsessed with the way he looked.
He started tanning a lot.
You mean going to tanning salons?
Tanning salons.
He lost weight.
He lost weight. He'd start exercising just all the time, just in the middle of a conversation, jumping and doing push-ups, things like that.
It was really bizarre. I mean,
really
very
strange.
Very out of the ordinary.
How did your mom react to all this behavior all of a sudden, this focus on physicality?
She was suspicious.
And even more suspicious as Alexis was when their father began disappearing for long stretches. This seemed less like a midlife crisis and more like an affair. When Alexis says Michelle confronted him about it, Martin made what seemed like the ultimate effort to change the topic. Newly fit and supremely tan, Martin told Michelle she should do some improving of her own.
Your dad decided that your mom should get a facelift.
Out of the blue. And my mom had never talked about that before or anything. She'd never been into plastic surgery.
So how much convincing did it take for your mom to agree to this?
Quite a bit, actually. She saw my dad tanning, getting all in shape. So I think, my mom was just a little concerned too. Oh, well, maybe I should do a couple things, maybe that will help.
Wavering but wanting to keep her husband happy, Alexis says Michelle reluctantly agreed to the facelift.
And my mom said, Martin, let's just wait until the summer. I would be home from medical school for my summer break, and so I could help with the recovery. And my dad said, oh no, Alexis, you have spring break coming up in a week. Let's do it then.
In a week?
My dad said, we have everything set up. The anesthesiologist is reserved. We need to do it.
April 3rd, 2007. Just 2 weeks after Alexis says her father first suggested it, Michelle undergoes a full facelift. Alexis says Martin insists the surgeon prescribe a powerful combination of painkillers and sedatives almost never taken to recover from this kind of procedure.
And the surgeon agreed?
He knew my dad was a physician, so he thought he knew how to, dose different medications. It was just bizarre because, my mom was very sensitive to medication anyway.
Alexis, away at medical school in Nevada, came home to care for her mother, but the evening after the surgery, she says her father abruptly told her to leave.
He said, I need you to get some rest, Alexis. And I said, no, I want to stay right here by my mom. And he told me, I'll take care of her medicines tonight.
You say that the next morning, when you saw your mom, she was heavily medicated.
She was completely sedated and out of it. The next day, it took a pretty much 24-hour period until she kind of regained consciousness and was able to talk to me. And she said, Alexis, your dad, he just kept giving me medicines. And I went right to my dad. And he goes, I don't know, I must have done something wrong. And he said, oh, and your mother threw up, so then I gave her more medicine. I said, Dad, don't give her any more medicine. I'm going to take over.
Alexis spends the next 4 nights taking care of her mother and monitoring her medication. Michelle seems to be feeling better. But one morning, as Alexis was washing her mother's hair, she says Michelle dropped a bombshell.
She started to cry. She said, if anything happens to me, make sure it wasn't your dad. And I said, Mom, what do you mean? What are you saying? And she just said, make sure if anything happens to me, it wasn't your dad.
Alexis alone knows her mother's terrible secret fear, but Alexis would soon discover her father was keeping secrets too. Phone records revealed he was making calls at all hours of the day and night to the same number. Who was on the other end of the line? See what's next.
The Perfect Nanny continues. Once again, Elizabeth Vargas.
Michelle McNeil is recovering from a facelift her daughters say she had only to please her husband, Martin. Daughter Alexis gets ready to go back to medical school, still troubled by a strange warning she says her mother gave her about her father. But she is happy that Michelle appears to be on the mend.
The doctor said she was healing great. She looked great. Went out to Sizzler. She had a steak dinner. She was feeling great. They dropped me off at the airport. I just remember looking back and seeing my mom and waving.
But the next morning, less than 24 hours later, there would be a 911 call from the McNeil home.
Swollen in the bathtub.
Okay, is she conscious?
She's not. She's halfway on the position.
Martin McNeil, a prominent local doctor, sounds frantic.
She is unconscious. She's underwater.
Okay, did you get her out of the water?
I can't. Let the water out.
Veteran 911 dispatcher Heidi Johnson is on the line.
It was really hard to understand him because he was yelling very hysterically at me.
Okay, is she breathing at all?
So I tried to calm him down and tried to get the information from him.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I'm doing it.
Okay, do not...
But he didn't want to stay on the line with me and he hung up.
In fact, Martin hangs up not once, but 3 times in less than 5 minutes. And he fails to give an audible address. As a result, Heidi Johnson loses precious minutes figuring out where to send the ambulance. Meanwhile, Martin sends the youngest McNeil child, 6-year-old Ada, next door to neighbor Christy Daniels.
And she said, my dad needs some help.
It was Ada, just home from school, who first found Michelle unconscious in the bathtub.
So I ran in and, followed his voice into the bathroom, and he says, I've already called 911. I need a male's help.
A man's help to lift his dying wife from the tub? Crucial time passes as Martin sends Christy to call for her husband, Doug.
And I just immediately went straight to her legs and grabbed her legs, and Martin grabbed her upper body, and we lifted her out of the tub and onto the floor.
Doug says it is chaos in the bathroom, with Martin veering from frantic attempts at CPR to fury.
He would calmly be doing puffs of air, and then he would suddenly have an outburst of yelling, why, all for a stupid surgery.
In the midst of it all, the phone rings. It is Alexis calling from medical school in Nevada. She is surprised when her father answers.
He said, your mom, she's in the tub. She's not breathing. I've called an ambulance. And then he hung up.
For Alexis, in that moment, her mother's terrible secret fears begin to crystallize.
I just dropped all my books and started driving to the airport. And I was just screaming. He killed her. That was my first instinct. He killed her.
Before you left, your mom said, if anything happens to me, make sure it wasn't your dad who killed me.
My dad had no idea that my mom had confided in me. And I knew I was the only one that knew this, so I needed to start figuring out what had happened and protect the rest of my family, because my dad was a killer.
Alexis's older sister Rachel has also been trying to call home and finally gets through to her father.
I said, Dad, what's going on? Is it something with Mom? And he said, Rachel, come home. And so I called Alexis, and I said, Alexis, I know it. Mom's dead. I said, she's dead. And Alexis said, yes.
Stunned and grief-stricken, the two sisters return to their parents' home. Alexis takes Rachel aside.
She walked with me into the closet and said, Rachel, Dad murdered Mom. I know he did. I said, what are you talking about? I thought Alexis might have just been
overly emotional or
just devastated.
But soon, Rachel starts wondering. Her father's story of what happened doesn't seem to add up.
Okay, do not hang.
Why would this experienced doctor hang up repeatedly on the 911 operator? And why would a seemingly fit man need another man's help to rescue his dying wife?
It was very strange to me that he couldn't lift my mother out of the tub, because he was finishing the downstairs basement a few days prior, and I had helped him lift sheetrock in.
And Alexis had her own questions about Michelle's pills. She asks her father, where are those powerful painkillers and sedatives, and how many did her mother take on a morning when she had been recovering well from her facelift?
I said, where's the medicine? And he said, I don't know where it is. Check in the garage.
But she finds no medications, and when she asks her father again, he says they've been thrown out. And why?
It was
making him too sad to look at, to see this medication. I mean, as soon as I heard that, things were just starting to add up. Everything was adding up.
Now both sisters begin to suspect the inconceivable. Because Alexis tells her sister about something else that happened just weeks before Michelle died. When her father had started to disappear for long stretches, Alexis says her mother asked her to do some late-night investigating.
While he was sleeping, I went online and printed out all of his phone records. And we found this number that he'd been calling a lot.
A number being dialed day and night. Alexis did an online search.
And it popped out the name of the person.
And it was?
Gypsy Jillian Willis. And my mom was like, who's this? I mean, we thought it was maybe some like stripper or something. Who's named Gypsy?
Who is Gypsy? Well, meet Gypsy Jillian Willis, a 30-year-old nursing student when she met Martin McNeil in an internet chat room. Her screen name, Phoenix Sheba. He told her his name was Joe.
He sent me a message. He asked me what I knew about quantum physics.
You bonded over quantum physics?
There was just instant chemistry. He was tall, he was handsome, he was very well spoken.
Did you know he was married?
I did. Yeah.
And that didn't ring any alarm bells for you on the ethics front?
Not at that point. I wasn't looking for a serious relationship, and he told me that he had a perfect life, that he had a perfect wife.
A perfect wife and a suspicious death. 3 days after Michelle was found dead in the bathtub, her grieving family attends her funeral. And standing in that crowd that day, Martin's lover, Gypsy.
Why would you go to her funeral? Who invited you?
No one invited me. I just found out where it was.
You crashed her funeral?
I had felt sorry that I had been involved with Martin inappropriately. I felt
that was
sorry.
The way to show that sorrow was to go to her funeral?
No one knew who I was.
Martin knew who you were.
Martin knew who I was, and that's why I was there. I knew it would be a hard time for him.
Gypsy isn't about to let Martin's mourning distract him. She sends Martin text messages in the middle of Michelle's funeral. She had even sent him semi-nude photos of herself the day after Michelle died.
You did send him 2 suggestive pictures of your naked back. Why did you do that?
I wanted to keep his attention. It's cold. It sounds heartless. I'm sorry. But I knew that he would be having a hard time, not thinking of me, and that was selfish.
You understand that from the outside looking in, you're having an affair with this man, the wife inexplicably dies, you show up to her funeral, send him text messages during the funeral. It looks like you've come in to claim your prize.
I did not look at it like that.
But that's what it looked like to Martin's daughters when they made another startling discovery.
We'd come to find out that my dad had been dating Gypsy for several years before my mom's death.
Less than a month after his wife dies, Martin McNeil moves Gypsy into the house to care for his motherless children.
So were you the nanny or were you the girlfriend? So what do you think of Gypsy? And if you had the chance to interview her, what questions would you ask? Tweet me using hashtag ABC2020. We'll be right back.
Still to come, how did Martin McNeil's fairy tale marriage end up in a bathtub with a 911 call and his wife lying face down? Or was she?
This bathtub, ladies and gentlemen, has an important story to tell.
The Perfect Nanny continues next. '20 continues with The Perfect Nanny.
In the hours after Michelle McNeil's death, Pleasant Grove police detectives see no reason to treat the bathroom where she died like a crime scene. They collect no evidence from the McNeil house. And the only person they interview is her husband, Martin, who they know is a well-established local doctor. He tells them he believes his wife passed out while preparing the tub.
I thought that if this is a healthy woman that died, that there would be some sort of big police investigation. Their police report onto my mother's death is about 2.5 paragraphs.
The medical examiner determines that hypertension and an existing heart infection called myocarditis caused Michelle's heart to fail. In other words, death by natural causes.
Natural cause? She's not an old woman.
She just turned 50 years old. I mean, she had a few issues. She had a little bit of high cholesterol, some high blood pressure.
Police close the case. Alexis and Rachel are stunned. But their father is moving on, and quickly. He arranges a funeral within 3 days, and just 2 days after is back at work. And even though Alexis and Rachel say they have offered to come home to care for the 4 younger McNeil children, their father announces he will hire a nanny. And he already seems to have one in mind.
And he said, "Oh, I found the perfect nanny." And I said, "What's her name?" And he said, "Oh, I think it's Jillian." I said, "Dad, Gypsy Jillian Willis." I said, "I know that woman. I know Mom was worried you were having an affair with her, and you are not to bring her in the home."
But Martin would not be deterred. He calls a family meeting.
And he said there is going to be an interview for a nanny, and there was only one candidate, and that was Gypsy.
Gypsy.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And she got the job.
She didn't cook, she didn't clean, she didn't take care of the children in any way.
Why did you move into the home?
Martin told me that he needed help with his younger children.
Were you still sleeping with him?
I was.
So were you the nanny or were you the girlfriend?
I moved in to help with the kids. When we had opportunity, I still slept with him.
So you were both?
If you want to look at it like that.
But Martin's daughters didn't like the look of that one bit.
She walked into the house like she owned the place. And then when I questioned my dad and said, "What's going on?" he said, "Oh, she's a guest in our home, and how dare you question me?" He said, "If you fight me, I'm going to get you thrown out of medical school." And he started threatening me, "I'm going to take you down."
I was told that I needed to leave the home because I wasn't nice to Gypsy. He wanted to make it known that it was either Gypsy or his children, and he chose the nanny.
Yeah.
The nanny.
3 months after moving into the McNeil home, Gypsy took Martin back to Wyoming to meet her parents, Harold and Vicki Willis.
He said, "I never loved Michelle, but I loved Gypsy." And I said, "But you had a family with Michelle." He says, "Actually, I loved her as a friend, I loved her as a sister, but I never loved her like I loved Gypsy."
During that trip, Martin proposed to Gypsy in front of her family. Gypsy's sister Julie was there.
He gave this grand speech about how he loved her and how he loved her from the moment he saw her, and he knelt and proposed to her, and Gypsy cried. It was very fairy tale.
This was the man who'd been telling you just a couple months earlier that he had the perfect life and the perfect wife.
Yeah.
So you must have been shocked when 3 months after she died, he proposed marriage to you.
I wasn't shocked. It just, like I said, it seemed very natural. It seemed like a natural progression. I believe he loved his wife. He did sincerely mourn Michelle, but she was gone. And I didn't suspect anything unusual.
So you're saying he never told you, "I wish I wasn't married to Michelle"?
He never said that.
"I wish Michelle was dead"?
No, he never said that.
"I'd rather be with you and not Michelle"?
He didn't say that.
Martin didn't say he'd rather be with Gypsy, but was he thinking it? And what was she thinking?
Don't you think it's a little funny that he goes from saying, "I love Michelle," to, "Oops, she died, move in, let's continue sleeping together while you take care of my kids, and will you marry me?"
I realize it looks pretty cold on the outside.
Cold. Gypsy's own sister Julie goes even further.
I would consider Gypsy to be a deceptive, malevolent, malicious, calculating person.
Calculating and violent.
It wasn't right.
Julie says Gypsy had feuded with her and other family members for years. And even Gypsy admits to having a fist fight with her mother over ownership of a dog, the last time she ever saw her family.
I was bruised from head to toe. I had a sprained knee. I had choke marks around my neck.
She lunged forward and she bit me on my upper left bicep. A bad bite. You could count every single tooth mark. She doesn't care who gets hurt. She doesn't care what circumstances are ruined.
Fist fighting is one thing, but could Gypsy have gone so far as to help Martin kill Michelle?
If she sees something she wants, she will rationalize it to herself to the point where she will get that. And it doesn't matter who stands in her way.
Those are your family.
I know.
They think that you're capable of murder.
They are horrible and they are hateful. It is appalling that my family would say such things. And I think it is completely unfounded and unjust.
In this family feud, is Gypsy sistered embittered, or the person who knows Gypsy best? Julie Willis says Gypsy found the perfect match in Martin McNeil.
In a bad way, they were perfect for each other. Together, I believe that they are perfectly capable of killing Michelle. They're like a pack of dogs. One dog alone might be malicious, might take a nip out of things, but two dogs together hunting are lethal.
Stay with us.
Once again, Elizabeth Vargas.
4 years ago, two desperate sisters took their story to 2020 after a small-town police department closes the case on their mother's death in the family bathtub and let their father, Martin McNeil, off scot-free.
Not only would they not listen, they were mocking us. They were saying, you're ridiculous. You guys are just upset that, you know, your dad has had an affair. Lots of people have affairs.
But they found a sympathetic ear in Doug Whitney, an investigator at the Utah County Attorney's Office. 2 years after Michelle's death, they convince him to reopen the case. And when he does, he finds something surprising. Martin was not the man he claimed to be. This prominent doctor and lawyer actually had a life based on 3 decades of lies, stretching all the way back to his days in college and his school transcript.
His entire career is based on falsified transcripts from different colleges.
Well, so then how did he go about practicing medicine?
The guy is brilliant. I'm not saying that he's not smart. He just
didn't take the necessary classes.
And he lies.
And that was only the beginning of his lies. The summer after Michelle's death, Martin stole his 14-year-old adopted daughter Giselle's identity. He applied for a new Social Security card using Giselle's personal information and Gypsy's name.
They went into court and changed the birth date, 20 years. That's called perjury. Now there's 2 people with that Social Security number. There's 2 people with that name.
And that new false Social Security card number was only the beginning.
How did this idea come up to take Giselle's identity, her Social Security number, her passport, and adopt it as yours?
When I got together with Martin, I had a lot of tax debt, probably in the range of $50,000 or $60,000. This was Martin. This is Martin's idea. This was Martin's activity.
Why did you do it?
I said I didn't want to. He said that this is the best way to do it. It's temporary. It's not going to hurt anybody. No one will notice.
But someone did notice, namely Doug Whitney, when he starts looking closely at Michelle's death. He discovers that Martin and Gypsy are amassing fake IDs all over Utah.
You're talking about a state ID card. You're talking about bank accounts that were opened up under false names.
Martin did a lot of things that were not very sensible.
So you're saying Martin did all of this without your knowledge?
He would tell me he was doing things, and I'd be like, okay, whatever.
You got 2 fake military ID cards, 3 joint banking accounts using a fake name. You got a fake birth certificate, a fake Utah state ID card, and a fake Social Security card. And you're saying all you did was sort of sign away and not ever ask or wonder how many laws I've broken? How could you be a passive participant in that?
Martin was very powerful. He was very influential. I just assumed that he knew what he was doing. He'd been successful all of his life.
Gypsy, you're an educated person. You bonded over quantum physics. And now you want me and us, the authorities, to believe that you just checked your brain at the door and agreed to all this?
When you love someone, you do things that don't make a lot of sense. He had everyone confused. He was this pillar of the community. He'd been bishop twice. I mean, he had all of the accoutrements to be convincing.
Martin McNeil's gigantic con job was stopped short by Doug Whitney's investigation. He had both Martin and Gypsy arrested for identity theft, and they were convicted in federal court and sent to prisons in Texas. And while they are behind bars, investigators go for broke and work to pin Michelle's death on Martin.
I will simply say that I believe that Martin McNeil is a sociopath.
They begin chipping away at Martin's version of the story of his wife's final bath and ask some tough questions. Why couldn't a fitness addict like Martin lift his wife out of the bathtub alone? Could Martin's relationship with Gypsy be a motive for murder? The questions raise suspicions, but it's still not enough to charge Martin with murder. Then the prosecutors catch a break. Something happens in prison that lands McNeil in hot water. And weeks after his release from prison on the fraud charge, he is arrested again, this time for murder.
There is a big trial getting underway in Utah.
There was no doubt in my mind that one day this case was going to be reopened.
5.5 years after Michelle died, Martin McNeil sat once again before a judge, this time fighting for his life.
This case is a puzzle with many pieces.
The trial opens with McNeil's defense attorneys claiming Michelle died of natural causes.
What is very important in this case is that none of the medical examiners believed that Michelle's death was due to a homicide.
The jury of 5 men and 3 women was about to hear Martin's sordid secrets when witnesses reveal how he really felt about Michelle.
And he goes, I'm glad the is dead.
Next.
"2020's The Perfect Nanny" continues. Once more, Elizabeth Vargas.
Taking center stage, a model of a bathtub.
It was called The Case of the Murder in the Bathtub, gripping the country for weeks.
She finds her mom dead in the tub.
Martin McNeil on trial for his wife's murder.
Let me just say, may they rot in hell.
Martin McNeil sat in a Utah courtroom charged with the premeditated murder of his wife and the mother of their 8 children. His chief accusers, his own grown daughters, who believe their dad was a killer.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
But Martin's defense team tries to discredit the daughter's version of events, sticking to the coroner's original report that Michelle's death was from natural causes.
Martin McNeil is innocent, ladies and gentlemen.
The trial begins with Michelle's cosmetic surgeon, Dr. Scott Thompson.
Good morning, Dr. Thompson.
Good morning.
He runs through the laundry list of drugs he prescribed for Michelle following her routine facelift surgery.
Keflex, Phenergan, Valium is the anxiety medication, Percocet, Ambien for the sleeping, erythromycin eye ointment, the Medrol dose pack, the hydrocodone elixir, liquid medication for pain.
Thompson admits he wouldn't normally prescribe so many drugs, but that Martin, a fellow doctor, assured him that he wouldn't let Michelle take too many pills.
Why did you prescribe it here?
Because Martin was a physician and he asked me for these things.
Was it your intention that Michelle take all these drugs together?
No.
Would you have prescribed this combination to her if Martin was not a physician?
No.
On the stand, Martin's daughter Alexis testifies that Martin forced Michelle to take more drugs than she wanted.
She said, Lexi, I don't know why, but your dad kept giving me medication. He kept giving me things, telling me to swallow. And she said I even started to throw up, but then he started giving me more medication.
Did she make any specific requests?
She actually had me take out every single pill from the pill bottles, and she wanted to feel what the pills felt like in her fingers, so that if my dad tried to give her anything, she'd know what he was giving her, because at that time she couldn't see.
But the jury would not hear a crucial piece of evidence, something that Alexis revealed to 2020 about Michelle's fears just days before her death.
She said, if anything happens to me, make sure it wasn't your dad.
Those damning words are ruled too prejudicial by the judge. The jury never hears them. So the prosecution instead hones in on Martin's movements the morning Michelle died.
There's about an hour-and-a-half period of time where no one really knows where Martin is.
A timeline shows a 90-minute gap between the time Martin left work and when he picked up 6-year-old Ada from school.
Plenty of time. Rush home, take care of your business, give Michelle the drugs, fix her up a bath, get her in the tub, hold her head down for a little while, and help her out.
Witnesses say Martin was frantic that day.
I could hear Martin yelling that he needed help.
I asked him what happened.
And what did he tell you?
He said, well, he went into the room and he described it as he saw her face down the wrong way in the tub.
As a crucial centerpiece of their case, prosecutors haul in a replica of the bathtub where Michelle was found.
This bathtub, ladies and gentlemen, has an important story to tell, okay?
Witnesses reenact what they saw. Neighbor Christy Daniels testifies that when she entered the bathroom, she saw Michelle facing up and lying inside the bathtub, partially undressed. That contradicts Martin's description of the scene.
Was Michelle dressed or not?
What I remember is Michelle had a long black sleeve shirt on and nothing else.
Okay, no bottoms.
No bottoms.
Prosecutors argue that Martin tried to make it look as though Michelle had been taking a bath and that she slipped under the water. But he had been interrupted when the neighbors arrived sooner than he expected.
It's a very small bathtub. It'd be almost impossible in this bath to slip under the water.
So why would Martin try to stage a drowning accident? Prosecutors argue it all comes back to Gypsy.
He was at a crossroads. He had to choose between Michelle and Gypsy. He chose Gypsy. He chose Gypsy over Michelle.
And although it is Martin McNeil who was on trial for murder, it seems as though everyone has something to say about Gypsy.
It's Gypsy Jillian Willis.
Her name is Gypsy.
Gypsy Jillian Willis. The person coming over's name was Gypsy.
Jillian Willis.
The jury hears how Martin lied to his children, telling them Gypsy was just the nanny.
Because she was nothing like my mom.
Did you ever see your dad and Jillian interact?
Yes.
What did you see?
I remember her going up into my dad's room at night and then have the door closed, and I just remember staying up at night thinking, what in the world? I mean, I thought she was our nanny. Why is she up in Dad's room?
The testimony of his children may have been devastating to Martin McNeil, but what may have sealed his fate was a string of inmates from his time in prison while serving 2 years for identity fraud.
Did Martin talk to you at all about the relationship he had with his wife before she died?
A little bit, yes.
Do you recall what he said?
That she was not going to let him keep cheating on her.
Did he say whether he actually was cheating on her?
Oh, yeah. He told me about his girlfriend.
Did he tell you what his girlfriend's name was?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
Her name was Dipsy or Gypsy or something like that.
Some of the inmates request that their identity be concealed for fear of reprisal in prison for snitching.
Doc, they say you murdered your wife.
And he's like, I can get away with a lot of things.
Did he say anything else about that?
Yeah, he's getting away with the murder with his wife.
He called her a
And I just went up to him and said, hey, man, I apologize about your wife. And he goes, I'm glad the is dead.
Okay.
The prosecution rests its case, and the defense calls a handful of character witnesses and a medical examiner to drive home its main argument, that there is no proof that Michelle is a murder victim.
Is there a real possibility that the inmates are not telling the truth? Yes, there is.
Defense lawyers continue to cling to the original autopsy report, citing a natural death.
They don't rise to the level of proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
The jury doesn't buy it.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
After 3 weeks of testimony and 11 hours of deliberation, the jury returns a verdict. Martin is stone-faced, listening as it's read.
As to count 1, murder, guilty.
Guilty of first-degree murder.
It was such a relief. Been fighting for this for so long, and I never thought we'd come to this day. I never thought it would make it to even trial, and then to be in that courtroom and hear guilty just was a flood of emotions.
Alexis's father will likely be in prison for the rest of his life, and the woman at the center of the storm, Martin's mistress, Gypsy, she has an alibi for where she was the day Michelle died, and she was never charged with anything related to her death. But Alexis is not convinced.
I do believe that Gypsy was involved with my mother's death. She was the motive, and I know she knows more than she portrayed in court.
So many people think that you must have known.
No.
Or that you were in on it.
That is incorrect.
Michelle's daughters choose not to dwell on that question.
Finally having justice for my mother, who means everything to me, and she was taken away from me, from all of us. And we're finally getting justice for her.
Tonight, Martin McNeil is still behind bars, waiting to be sentenced. He faces 15 years to life. As for Gypsy, she's now hired a publicist. She says she's got a story to tell. We'll be right back.
And now your first look at a 2020 exclusive breaking 1 week from tonight right here. A mother on the run with her 2 little boys, and 2 fathers back here in America desperate to track down the fugitive mom and their beloved sons. We take you from Los Angeles to Paris to Geneva. And what happens when we track down that mom?
Next Friday, it's a furious worldwide manhunt to find this stunning woman and her 2 young boys. They vanished, taken when she abducted them, fleeing the country, leaving 2 desperate fathers searching for the ex-wife turned fugitive.
Everything I thought she was false.
Now follow the heart-pounding clues.
I'm terrified.
That shockingly reveals her boys disguised, posing as girls. And see what happens when David Muir tracks her down.
Why take the boys and run?
On the Run, 2020, next Friday after Shark Tank on ABC.
Wow. Hope those boys are okay, and you'll have an update on that on the program as well. And that's our program for tonight. I'm Elizabeth Vargas.
I'm David Muir. From all of us here at ABC News in 2020, thanks for watching. Have a great evening. Good weekend. Good night.
An all-new 2020 starts right now.
Family secrets are spilling out.
I need my daddy.
A teenager with a strange demeanor.
She's clutching a teddy bear.
How can she be actually 18 years of age?
And an even stranger story about her missing mother.
I didn't know Bonnie was going to go missing.
Something happened to her. She didn't just disappear on her own free will.
So you knew something was really wrong?
Pretty much.
Has she ever disappeared before?
No.
Whoever has my sister, please let her go.
Maybe somebody saw her somewhere at a bus station, at a train station, in a cab, at the mall.
Nathan, you've agreed to walk us through a few areas. We're running out of time.
He said, at times I feel like I have the devil living inside me.
Turns out Bonnie wasn't the only missing person in that household.
Police in Alta need the public's help finding a missing woman. Bonnie Woodward was last seen Friday afternoon.
It's a missing persons case that will confound an Illinois community.
I didn't see any.
Flooding seasoned investigators with no shortage of witnesses.
And then possibly tried to get rid of her,
These interviews happening in this room right here, focusing on one person, one mother of 4, whose sudden and perplexing disappearance sets off alarm bells. It all started at the end of a day's shift, one afternoon in June.
Bonnie Woodward got off around 3 p.m. that day. She was working at what was called a Unismith nursing home here in Dalton. It was a normal day of work for her.
47 years old, worked at the nursing home for over 25 years, I believe, and just a woman who was reliable.
Being a nurse's aide that's a lot of caregiving.
She did it forever. She loved what she did.
She went to work, she worked her shift, and then would come home to her children every night, as well as Gary Wilmerth, who she was dating at the time.
Gary knew that she had some sort of staff meeting after work from 2 to 3, so he really wasn't expecting her home until 3:34.
That boyfriend, Gary Wilmerth, says he tries getting a hold of Bonnie around 4 o'clock. But his call goes straight to voicemail.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Everybody was like, she would call if she was 5 minutes
Oh
late.
no, everything she did was on a schedule.
Nobody had seen her. This was very abnormal for Bonnie. She was always in communication with her family.
After she didn't return home, her family members, they reached out, they tried to call her, they tried to text her, and no response.
And by the next morning, when Bonnie doesn't show up for work, her co-workers are alarmed by something they see in the parking lot.
Her red Chevy Avalanche was still parked at the nursing home, had not moved from the previous date. Windows had been down even during the overnight hours.
She loved that truck. Like, she worked really hard to get that truck. She absolutely loved it. So she wouldn't have just left it.
At that point, it was clear that there was something wrong. And Gary reported her disappearance to our department the morning of the 26th. When we work on the missing person and we're dealing with an adult, you have to keep in mind the possibility if they just want to take a break. They want to get away from family and friends, and that's natural. Also have to look into what's usual and what's their history.
Detectives assigned to the case soon learn that 47-year-old Bonnie Woodward is a force of nature.
Bonnie survived breast cancer. She was a fierce mother to 4 children.
Bonnie has 2 grown children from her first marriage, Joseph, who's 28, and Jennifer, 26. Bonnie is also mom to 2 stepkids, Heather and Aaron. She adopted them after their father, Bonnie's 3rd husband, passed away.
Heather was about 17 years old at this time, and Aaron was special needs, and she cared for him every day.
Bonnie is also a devoted grandmother. She grew up as one of 9 siblings, so she has a large, extended family. What kind of aunt was she?
She was the aunt that took a second to actually listen to you if something was going on.
And she had a big personality.
Oh, yeah, no, huge personality. Very loving. Her house is where a lot of the cousins all congregated. She had this little case in her living room, and she'd have little figurines and random stuff that had dolphins on it. None of it made sense to me, but she loved them.
So she was the social hub?
Kind of, yeah. She kind of liked having everybody around.
So you knew something was really wrong?
Pretty much.
With the clock ticking, the Alton detectives start their missing person investigation where you'd expect, at the last place she was reportedly seen.
This is where Bonnie worked?
Yes, this Unismith Nursing Home.
And she was a very consistent employee?
Yes, didn't miss any work at all, and certainly wouldn't miss without calling in.
And so where was her car parked?
It was in the spots here.
And the windows were rolled down?
Yeah, windows were rolled down, so you would have to imagine that she expected to come back to the vehicle.
Back here, presumably no surveillance was captured.
No, at that time there was no surveillance back here that we could rely on.
Without any surveillance footage, officers are hopeful that Bonnie's car may actually give them some clues as to what may or may not have happened.
The vehicle, there's no significant damage to it or anything like that that would cause us any alarm. And upon looking at the inside, there was no evidence of a struggle. So we ended up having this vehicle towed to our police department, secured until we could process it and also dust it for prints.
One of the early things was how Bonnie Woodward was really regular with cashing her paycheck. The day she disappeared was payday, and she would, every time she was paid on Fridays, she would take that check to the bank.
That was ritual.
Ritual. The check never got cashed. She never went to the bank.
Nothing happened with any of her phone, social media, bank accounts, all went dead as of 4 p.m. that day.
And so then we have to look at what other troubles that she may have in her life. We have to look at prior relationships. We have to look at Gary Wilmarth, her current boyfriend.
And so what did you find when you dug into Gary's background?
Gary's got a colorful past. He's a convicted felon, and they've had some domestic issues.
And just for the record, sir, what is your name, your full name?
Gary, G-A-R-Y.
Okay.
Wilmarth, W-I-L-M-U-R-T-H.
Bonnie was the love of my life, and she was a good-hearted woman, and I mean, she put up with me, and I mean, that wasn't easy.
When Gary's talking to police, he tells them that they've been an on and off couple for about 7 years.
Everything good over the past 10 months between you two? Ever any arguments or fights or domestics?
Little money problem, you know, because construction's slow.
Right.
But we've been working it out.
I mean, I'm not a good boy. I mean, I've had record myself in the past. I paid my time, and Bonnie knew that. Bonnie still loved me. She didn't care what I did in my past. And these cops sure did.
Have you heard anything from her at all since?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Bonnie's daughter, Jennifer, alibied him at home.
And Gary was waiting for her to get home because
She said they were both there the whole day together.
And ultimately, he did end up doing a polygraph examination and passed it.
But as investigators start talking to Bonnie's co-workers, they learn she was last seen getting into a strange car with an unknown man.
I guess I had never seen the man before.
The police wondered, could Bonnie be having an affair? Or was it something worse?
Nothing is out of the realm of possibility. How did she know this person?
I mean, Mom had to have known the person she got into the car with.
Going into its third day, a baffling mystery is unfolding in Alton, Illinois, a river town outside St. Louis. Nurse's aide and mom of 4, Bonnie Woodward, vanishes in broad daylight just before her 48th birthday.
Alton, it's a nice little town. It's situated on the Mississippi River and the Illinois River. It has a vibrant downtown, a lot of history, and it's a great place to live and work.
So, with no sign of Bonnie anywhere, her family goes to the media, her older brother tearfully pleading with the public.
I want my sister. Somebody please call us and let us know what's going on. We don't know nothing.
Nobody wanted this case solved more than her siblings.
Whoever has my sister, please let her go.
Bonnie's sister, Rebecca, and her niece, Rachel, don't hesitate to join in on the efforts, making the 700-mile drive to Alton from their home in Louisiana. Why were you concerned enough to get in the car and start driving?
Well, because she wouldn't just not come home. I just remember having a stack of flyers and going around and putting them on every telephone pole that I could.
The police naturally talked to the people that had last seen Bonnie.
Can I get your last name?
Bosley, B-A-U-S-I-L-Y.
Wanda Bosley was one of the co-workers that worked with Bonnie at the Eunice Smith nursing home.
We have to find out how Bonnie was during the day. Was she acting appropriate? Was she, upset about anything?
Okay. And so you went into this meeting. She was in the meeting. You got out around 3 o'clock, and what happened then?
So, well, at first, in the meeting, I just want to say, when she talks, she's loud, and she seemed different to me. She was quiet, and her voice was more mellow like mine now, and I remember thinking, man, Bonnie seems a little different today.
After that staff meeting, Wanda says she headed to the back parking lot to get into her car. Out of the corner of her eye, she spots Bonnie. And she's not alone.
She was standing, say if this is the back of her truck, the guy was standing here. And I was looking, and Bonnie had walked up the side of her truck to the driver's door. And the guy was just standing there. I didn't see anything strange, but it kind of seemed strange because I guess I had never seen the man before.
Can you describe the guy for me?
He was a white male. He looked like he wasn't very tall, maybe 5'8", 5'9" or so. Mm-hmm. He was like a medium-sized guy. His hair was a salt and pepper, more grayer than black.
Turns out, Wanda is not the only coworker to have witnessed this strange sighting. Multiple people report to police seeing this mystery man sitting in a gray or silver sedan similar to a Chevy Malibu, waiting for Bonnie to get out of her staff meeting.
So the gray Chevy Malibu was directly to the right of her vehicle.
Plenty of people saw him.
Yeah, after the meeting, people would see her interacting with him outside both vehicles and ultimately got into the car with him.
She did get into the car willingly, and it did not appear that she was forced or anything like that.
Police in Alton need the public's help finding a missing woman, 48-year-old Bonnie Woodward.
The information regarding the person that people had seen on that parking lot was crucial.
She reportedly was seen talking to someone inside a gray or silver Chevy Malibu.
So talking to the family and friends, did anybody like a past relationship match the description?
And you don't know anybody off the top of your head that would have a silver Malibu?
Her ex-boyfriend, Chester McAdams. Chester's dad has a 2009 Impala. If you put an Impala and the Malibu side by side, there's just a little bit of difference. It'd be hard to tell the difference.
That's true. Who does this guy sound like to you? You know
Chester McAdams. That's the only guy I can figure out that fits the description. It's Chester. I mean, I don't like to pinpoint a guy out, but Chester fits every description. And like the silver Impala, his dad has a silver Impala.
Do you know that for sure?
Yeah, because he used to date my mom.
Chester McAdams piques the detective's interest not only because he dated Bonnie for a year, but he also has an extensive criminal record.
Bonnie started to see him, and then I showed back up in the picture and ran him off.
Me and Bonnie's been together probably 7 or more years. We parted about a little over 2 years, and that's when she got with that Chester guy. And
you and Chester ever have words?
Oh, big time.
Big time hate each other?
Oh, I mean,
fist fights?
I run into him in the bar. He was mad because me and Bonnie got back together.
So I kind of thought maybe he was upset and might have did something to her.
And sir, for the record, I just need your last name.
McAdam. Capital M, small c, capital A-D-A-M-S.
And your first, sir?
Chester.
With Chester, it was a very rocky relationship that Bonnie had with him.
We'd break up, she'd kick me out, and I'd be gone for a week or so, and then I'd be moved back in.
I've been down that road.
Okay, so then, then it would be 2 or 3 months, and then I'd be kicked out again, and then back and forth. And then about 2 months before Gary got out, she kicked me out, and then next thing I know, Gary's living there.
The family largely was saying, hey, you guys need to look at Chester McAdams. When we found Chester McAdams, he's got a beard, he's got a ponytail.
Chester clearly doesn't match the description of the man co-workers saw days earlier in the parking lot with Bonnie. But what about that tip from Bonnie's daughter, Jennifer, who said Chester's father drives a silver Chevy Impala? Detectives want to talk it over with father and son.
Do you ever drive his truck or Impala or anything like that? Do you ever allow him to borrow it for any reason?
No. I would never ask my dad to borrow his vehicle.
He'd say no.
Well, I know I'd say no right off the bat. So,
right. Don't even bother asking.
Don't even bother asking.
Well, I mean, we're investigating this missing person.
Right.
It could be more than missing. I mean, we could have a big problem.
Yes.
And it could be nothing.
Right.
It could be nothing.
Right. I mean, I hope it's nothing.
Chester McAdams was willing and cooperative with us, ultimately did not have direct access to a vehicle that was like that, and also we checked in with his employer and they confirmed that he was at work, so that was a dead end for us.
The family of a missing Alton woman is now offering a $5,000 reward to anyone who can find her.
You have crime in this area, but you don't have missing adults too often. We have people that run away, but they're always found. But this one, she just fell off the face of the earth.
We need to find my sister. We're running out of time. Everybody knows the first 3 days is critical.
With both Gary and Bonnie's ex cleared, detectives are hitting walls left and right. But they're about to be floored by some information that reveals a disturbing coincidence in the Woodward family.
Turns out Bonnie wasn't the only missing person in that household.
Correct.
I need my daddy.
Bonnie Woodward's disappearance is the talk of the small town in Illinois she called home. Bonnie Woodward has been missing.
Friends and family were gathering to pray for her return.
We need to find my sister. We're running out of time.
Investigators are frustrated and increasingly concerned.
We were doing missing person flyers, talking to local media. We were trying to push this out there as much as we can.
Maybe somebody saw her somewhere at a bus station, at a train station, in a cab, at the mall. We're trying to get any kind of lead that'll take us where we need to go.
But they're all kind of wild goose chases. Right. It's as if she's vanished into thin air.
Right. And it wasn't without leads. Somebody would say they saw somebody similar in Pontoon Beach, Applebee's in Kansas City, but none of them appeared to have much merit.
We had to expand our investigation and look into everything about her life that was going on at that time.
You discover, wait, she's not the only missing person in that household.
Right. It turns out that her stepdaughter, Heather Woodward, had been reported missing to the East Alton Police Department more than a week before.
East Alton Police Department, which is a separate police department from ours. So we were not aware of that at the time that Bonnie went missing. There was nothing 100% that told us that the two were linked. So at that point, we're having to do a dual investigation.
This is a huge coincidence in a small town that a mother and stepdaughter go missing in the same house. Huge, huge.
Remember, Heather Woodward is Bonnie's 17-year-old stepdaughter. Bonnie adopted Heather and her brother Aaron after their dad passed away when Heather was just 8.
After Bonnie adopted them, it was made very abundantly clear they're in the family. Like, those are her kids.
The house is a busy one, with Bonnie's adult daughter Jennifer and her 2 little girls, plus Heather, Aaron, and boyfriend Gary, all living under one roof. And the family tells detectives there was friction between Heather and Bonnie.
It was an unhappy teenager, and it was a stepmom giving her chores to do, and there was a little resistance. At some point they argue, and Heather wants to move out, and Bonnie initially doesn't resist the idea.
Our investigation revealed that around June 10th, Heather went with her teacher, that was Christine Scheffel, and Bonnie knew about this.
That teacher pictured in the high school yearbook along with Heather. Heather moved in with her just 2 weeks before Bonnie vanished. And now that both Bonnie and Heather are missing, investigators have lots of questions.
I'm here with the Christine Scheffel.
I wanted to get the history of how she became engaged with Heather's life. And then the number one question is, where is she now? She was last with you. Where is she at?
I had Heather now for 1 class as a freshman. For the entire year, she has been very vocal to myself and all the other teachers of the abuse that goes on at home. Things like being slapped or thrown against a wall, or woke up at 3 in the morning to wash every dish in the house. Just plain crazy stuff.
And who's the one she's alleging that does all this?
Bonnie.
We knew that East Alton Police Department was aware of these reports, and we could not get anything to substantiate these reports.
Heather painted a picture of your aunt as being abusive. What do you make of those allegations of abuse?
I can't see it. I can see her being loud with anybody, child or not, and like just being vocal, but not abusive. Like, there was no way.
Heather has been telling everyone for over a year that when she turns 18, she will be kicked out. She called and said that I'm getting kicked out and I need you to come get me.
The teacher is, I believe her heart was in the right place as she's trying to help this 17-year-old child.
Bonnie called us and wanted Heather back. And I did tell her she had to go back home. So she cried most of the night.
And then whenever you came back on the 17th, she was gone.
Right.
So now, according to this teacher, Heather leaves her home on the 17th. That same day, Bonnie reports Heather as a runaway.
Bonnie went knocking on doors. It was driving Bonnie nuts because she couldn't find her.
In obtaining the reports, it was clear that Bonnie wanted to find her stepdaughter. And she was not getting the information she wanted from the teacher, and she was adamant that no matter what, she was going to find her.
And now, detectives aren't making much headway in finding Heather either. The teacher who Heather had been living with says she has no idea where Heather might have gone.
There was nothing that we could really prove that she knew where Heather was, but clearly I'm still skeptical. Are they telling the whole truth?
She never called you back once to say, hey, I'm okay, or don't worry about me, or anything like that?
No.
With her lack of intent on trying to find Heather, and if she was that much of a mentor to her, why wasn't she more concerned about Heather's whereabouts if she didn't know?
To us, it seems odd. Are you concerned about her welfare? It's odd that she hasn't called you, is what I'm a little concerned with.
I believe that she's with somebody. I mean, I don't think that she's off by herself. But I think she just doesn't want to make sure I don't get in trouble, or, I mean, she's a smart kid.
Heather's teacher's interview only raises more questions for investigators. Are these disappearances linked? And if so, how?
As investigators, you're fairly convinced that she might have had something to do with the disappearance, or at the very least, know something.
We think the two events have to be linked some way. Two missing persons from the same house, one a juvenile and one adult, like you almost have to believe they're related. Like it's really naive to think they're not.
After almost a week and no sign of Bonnie, her family's anguish turns pointed, lashing out at that mystery man from the parking lot.
You let my sister go, and I'll come and get her. I want my sister.
I felt like Heather had the answers that we needed. We believe she was the key to finding Bonnie.
And that's when police get a game-changing phone call from a nearby library.
I had heard it over the police scanners. It was very strange.
It seems someone showed up there with a teddy bear and a story to tell.
Pee, Mr. Bear.
Summer is in full swing here in Alton, Illinois. Backyard barbecues, 4th of July fireworks. Bonnie Woodward used to host these kinds of events, but not this year. She's been missing for a week. And in a twist, her teenage stepdaughter is missing too. Until out of the blue, 8 days after Bonnie vanished, through these doors walks the missing teenager, Heather Woodward.
The East Alton Police Department received the call from the library that there's a person saying that she's Heather Woodward. With all the speculation going around, I wanted to hear what she had to say.
They got Heather and took her to the police station, and I thought, man, they're going to find out something now.
And would you state your name, please?
Heather Woodward.
And your birthday, Heather?
Today.
Physical condition for Heather was not of anything that was of a concern. There was no injury to her. Clearly, she had been being taken care of.
What do you know about the whole situation with Bonnie and everything?
What I read in the paper.
Okay.
That's it.
And I guess you read in the paper that you were also listed as a runaway also?
And I was planning on coming home on my birthday. That was the plan, so I didn't have to go back to Bonnie's house.
I was taken back that how can she be actually 18 years of age?
Like these stupid, small, claustrophobic rooms. I need my daddy. I have to pee, Mr. Bear.
But she's clutching a teddy bear.
Yes. July 3rd is her 18th birthday, so she's a bona fide adult in the state of Illinois, but she talks more like a, well, I don't want to be insulting, but like a grade school student or a junior high student.
I'm tired. I'm ready for my nap. I need my books. I need my books. Books.
She showed up at a library. What did you think?
That it was absolute.
What do you mean by that?
Like, why are you showing up at a library? Who brought you? Where did you come from? Where have you been?
Something doesn't smell right?
Pretty much.
What made the decision that you would go to the library? Why not to the police department or something?
Because I always go to the library. I walk there all the time, and I wasn't comfortable walking to the police station.
Do you think you're in any trouble?
I don't know. I'm scared.
Because you had a lot of people concerned about you. We don't know what happened to you. We don't know what happened to Bonnie.
I haven't talked to my mom.
Heather's thought of it wasn't that big of a deal that Bonnie had disappeared. It didn't come across to me that she had a lot of concern about where Bonnie was at the time.
What do you think happened to her?
I don't know. I thought that maybe she hid to draw me out, and then she'll come out now that she knows that I'm home.
That's what you thought? Why would you think that?
Because sometimes that's just the way Bonnie is, and she can be mean, and I don't know. She's just mean.
You know, I gave her the safe space to talk to me about situations in the home, and pretty much the extent of it was that she was being made to do chores and clean the house. You know, typical things that I think a lot of teenagers and youths do and should be doing.
Because I'm not going back there to be slave labor and a free babysitter. I just couldn't do it no more.
From what she told multiple people. She was being physically and verbally, mentally abused. You know, it doesn't go beyond the realm of possibility that maybe she was embellishing more about that relationship between her and Bonnie to pull the heartstrings of people that, you know, were close to her, that could be of assistance to her.
And one of those people, police begin to realize, may have been that teacher, Christine Scheffel, who took Heather in.
Miss Scheffel's been there for me for 4 years. And she was afraid for me to go home because Bonnie can be mean and sometimes she hits.
There was an investigation into Bonnie's parenting.
Yeah, it's DCFS, Department of Children and Family Services, and they had been involved before.
And what did they find?
It was unfounded. There's no evidence of significant abuse.
Do you think Heather was manipulating adults into thinking that her stepmother was evil?
I don't know if she was intentionally manipulating adults, but that was definitely what happened.
One thing's clear to investigators. Heather was in someone else's care in the 2 weeks after she left that teacher's house, during that critical time when Bonnie went missing. So now, of course, detectives are curious. Who was she with? And why is Heather protecting them?
And then I went to stay at a friend's house.
Okay, and who was that?
Just a friend. I don't want to get him in trouble. So, just a friend. They helped me. And they knew the situation, so.
Well, you know I have to ask who it is.
She was very resistant to talk at all about where she had been or what she's been doing and who with.
They're not gonna get in trouble, are they?
Well, I don't know about that.
They don't know nothing. They don't like Bonnie. I don't want to know where Bonnie's at.
And as seasoned investigators, you thought she's hiding something?
Yes, and we had to push hard enough to get that information.
They told me they didn't know Bonnie was missing, and I don't want to get him in trouble. And then it'll be all my fault. I didn't mean to cause no trouble, and I didn't know Bonnie was gonna go missing.
So now, another layer to this mystery.
She was painting a pretty ugly picture of her stepmother.
And might that have motivated somebody to try to protect her?
Sure.
Are they just good Samaritans or something else?
There's maybe more to this than just taking care of Heather.
The trail will lead detectives down these winding roads into truly uncharted territory.
We didn't see that coming from a mile away.
Bonnie Woodward disappeared in Alton June 25th at about 3 in the afternoon after getting off work. Her family members haven't seen or heard from her since that day.
Bonnie Woodward has been missing for over a week. Her boyfriend of 7 years, Gary Wilmerth, says he catches glimpses of her in every passing stranger.
There was times I could be at a store, pass somebody on the street, could be the color of their hair. I remember talking to her grandbabies. They said, "Are you gonna bring Grandma back? You got a picture of these little bitty girls looking at me. Where's Grandma?" I just thought in my heart she was gonna come back. And I wasn't taking no for an answer. She was coming back.
And investigators say they aren't taking no for an answer either. Bonnie's now 18-year-old stepdaughter, Heather Woodward, who also strangely went missing a week before Bonnie, has now suddenly reappeared.
Okay, Heather, we just need to ask you a few things here.
After hours of questioning from detectives, Heather seems finally ready to reveal the identity of the people she says helped her run away.
They're not gonna get in trouble, are they?
I don't know about that, but I want to at least know where you been. I want to make sure that you were safe.
I stayed with some people from the church.
Do they have any kids your age?
Nathan. He's my best friend.
Okay. So is Nathan Carroll's family? Okay.
The police department had learned that she had been at the Carroll house. Heather had told Roger Carroll and Monica Carroll that she had run away from home because Bonnie was mean to her, and that she had gone to the Carroll house to hide from Bonnie until she turned 18.
Both Monica and Roger were in the medical field, and their son Nathan was a typical 16-year-old high school student. There was no criminal history on record for them, no police involvement, no arrests or anything like that.
The Carrolls go to the same church in Wood River, so the Carrolls get to know Heather, I think, on church-related activities.
And one of those church activities they went to, a graduation party for Heather and other seniors, just 2 weeks before Bonnie went missing.
We obviously had to explore the avenue of, are they involved with Bonnie?
I think the police were like, well, they had, Heather at the house, then what else do they know?
We went to their listed address in the Jersey County area. They're living in among 60 acres of property. It's just a lot of wooded, open land.
What jumps out at you about Roger Carroll?
He's in his 40s with the brownish gray hair, 5'10"-ish. His primary car is a silver 2005 Chevrolet Malibu, which is the suspect vehicle description. We tow the vehicle to our police department and ultimately process this vehicle for any evidence related to our case.
This investigation is now shifting into high gear. Monica and Roger Carroll come in for questioning.
You are Roger William Carroll, Jr.
I don't want to answer any more questions until we speak with our attorney.
Okay. You decided to invoke your right to counsel, correct?
Yes.
Heather Woodward, Bonnie's stepdaughter, is also called in again the very same day and pressed for more information about the day Bonnie went missing.
What do you know about Bonnie leaving and what happened whenever she left or was?
The red in the paper, I know that she got in a car with some guy and they drove off, that's all I know.
Did they talk about the car?
Yeah, it was a silver and gray car, Malibu. That's it, that's all I know.
Does that
I know
sound like any car that you're familiar with?
No. Besides Roger's car.
Okay.
But Roger wouldn't hurt a fly.
Investigators then confront Heather with a new piece of information. They found out that she and the Carrolls were together at a lake house in the days just before Bonnie went missing.
They went down to Monica's parents in Goreville, Illinois, on a small trip, just the four of them.
And detectives grow even more suspicious when Heather shares that Roger and his son Nathan returned home by themselves on the same day Bonnie disappeared.
Roger and Nathan came home on Friday. We came home on Saturday, me and Monica.
Why did they leave on Friday?
Monica told me that he just wanted to get home, and he made Nathan go with him.
He brought Nathan with him, got up and left at 7 o'clock in the morning on June 25th, Friday morning, the day Bonnie disappeared.
Now, the question I have here is the guy that meets with Bonnie up at the nursing home, he's in a gray Malibu, silver gray Malibu. How do I know that Roger's not the one that met with Bonnie up there that Friday?
I don't know. Bonnie's never met Roger, so I don't know why she'd get in the car with him.
What if he told her, hey, I know where Heather is. Why don't you come with me and you pick her up?
I don't.
Do you think Bonnie would have gotten in the car with him then?
No, she doesn't care about me.
So you have a lot of circumstantial evidence, but nothing that cracks the case open.
It is all circumstantial.
There wasn't enough to link Roger Carroll or Monica Carroll to Bonnie's disappearance. However, both of them at that time were charged with harboring a runaway.
Both Roger and Monica plead not guilty to this charge, but this turns out to be a helpful tool for investigators.
In getting those charges, we can also get fingerprints, we can get photographs.
And then you put Roger in a lineup.
We did. We used this mugshot primarily with the employees at Unismith.
And that did not come up with a match?
It did not. That resulted in no positive IDs.
The family members must be chomping at the bit at this point.
They are, but sometimes the cases move when they want to move.
Did you feel like there had to have been somebody out there that knew more than they were saying?
I think anybody that is just trying to locate a loved one often feels like somebody's not talking or somebody's lying.
Summer winds to a close without Bonnie Woodward and without answers. Until news of a body found on the banks of the Mississippi River here in Alton, Illinois, leaves her loved ones holding their breath.
Every time a body comes up, we call. 51 days exactly. She's been gone, and we have not one solid answer.
That body, it turns out, is not Bonnie Woodward. But a break in the case is coming. The lab results from Bonnie's abandoned truck are back, and the results are stunning. The crime lab comes back with a very significant hit.
Yes.
You understand what we're trying to tell you right now? There's new physical evidence in this case.
I said we have to jump now. This is our time.
I'm thinking I'm gonna die. It's crazy, absolutely crazy.
Okay, we are recording.
I said, stop it, just stop doing this. Let me go, just let me go. I'll do anything you want me to do, just let me go.
Tonight, a third woman in danger who broke the bizarre mystery.
Bonnie Woodward disappeared in Alton
of a
June
missing mother.
I didn't mean to cause them trouble, and I didn't know Bonnie was going to go missing.
Who's been hiding daughter Heather? And could Bonnie have ended up in the same place? Family members must be chomping at the bit at this point.
It was a needle in a haystack. We had 60 acres of property. We didn't know where to look, what to look for. Nathan, you've agreed to walk us through a few areas that are of interest in our investigation.
We got a hit on the prints.
And on a scale of 1 to 10 of your suspicion level, where did it go?
Yeah, it spiked.
Any idea what they were? Little pieces of white things, but I don't know exactly what it was.
The family's falling apart, and we have to jump now. This is our time.
She now is starting to put everything together and is fearing for her own life at the same time.
He said, I have killed for you. I have killed for you.
That sounds like bingo. Summer has turned to fall in Alton, Illinois. 48-year-old mom and nurse's aide Bonnie Woodward hasn't been seen in over 3 months. That's an eternity in a missing persons case.
We didn't know technically if she was alive or dead in the months that followed. None of her family members heard from her.
But the Illinois State Police Crime Lab has been busy processing evidence, including fingerprints found on Bonnie's truck. In September, prints come in.
Right. I got a phone call from my evidence technician who told me we got a hit on the prints. It's Roger Carroll's. So Roger Carroll's fingerprints are on this driver's door.
And on a scale of 1 to 10 of your suspicion level, where did it go?
Yeah, it spiked.
Roger Carroll is brought in again for questioning, while police, now with probable cause, conduct a massive search at the Carroll sprawling rural residence.
It was a needle in a haystack. We had 60 acres of property. We didn't know where to look, what to look for.
Neighbors are stunned by the police operation.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Couldn't believe it, the amount of police that were coming by.
And we had more than 60 police officers.
Multiple agencies.
We had a lot of people. We had cadaver dogs.
And an airborne search.
And an airborne search, yes.
Oh, there was probably close to 30 firearms at this residence. Multiple crates of ammunition were also seen.
Oh, I thought they was gonna find a body or something.
The cadaver dogs did alert on certain areas of the property, but subsequent digs of those areas revealed no results.
Meanwhile, this time in the police interrogation room for a second interview, Roger is more chatty.
My mom, she's like, oh my God, did you do this? I'm like, Mom, no, I didn't do it.
Roger tells investigators that he invited Bonnie's daughter Heather to stay with him and his family, only after becoming concerned about her account of a troubled home life.
So then Heather calls you guys?
Yes. I could hear her crying. She was just frantic, you know.
Right.
Oh my God. Bonnie called and said that she's going to come get me tomorrow, that I have to pack my stuff up, and you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. And
Right. So she kind of played on your soft hearts and said, can I come stay there?
She never said, can I come stay? Just to be honest about it, I'm the one who said, hey, you know, this is a bunch of crap. Why don't we just go, you know, she can stay with us.
Okay, okay.
You know, I'm the one that said that.
As far as Bonnie, you've never had a conversation with that woman?
Confirmed during this interview that She didn't have anything to do with it.
Bonnie went missing around 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And his prints are on Bonnie's truck. What do you think?
I don't know. 'Cause I would never want nothing to happen to Bonnie. I mean, like, sometimes she's mean, but I wouldn't do that to her. I didn't tell him to touch Bonnie. She was the only thing I knew. I wouldn't hurt her.
The police process Roger's gray sedan, but here's the thing. They don't find any fibers or DNA belonging to Bonnie or even her fingerprints. And they don't come up with much of the Carroll house either.
After the search in September, there was really no evidence found at the residence that 100% put Bonnie there at the Carroll property.
When you take somebody to trial for first-degree murder, you better be right and you better be ready because you only get one shot.
We still didn't have Bonnie's remains. We didn't know if Bonnie was alive or dead at that time. And what we did know is that Roger Carroll was lying. Roger Carroll, based on the lies that he told, was charged with the offense of obstruction.
Family members and friends felt that he needed to be charged with murder, but based on it only being a circumstantial case at this point, that would have been quite a stretch for us.
So the case goes cold. Your aunt is still missing. What was that like for your family?
I know that it was very hard emotionally for many family members.
It would take 8 years and one newly installed prosecutor combing through a pile of Madison County cold cases.
And the first one you stumbled on was Bonnie Woodward.
First one, Bonnie Woodward.
To breathe life back into Bonnie Woodward's investigation.
Jennifer Mudge decides to try to open a cold case, but even before you can relaunch anything, you get a startling phone call.
I got a call from Roger Carroll's neighbor, and he's asking me, he's like, do you know what's going on at the Carroll's house?
I said, God, Roger, stop it. Just stop doing this. Let me go. Just let me go. I'll do anything you want me to do. Just let me go. I'm fighting. I'm fighting with everything that's within me.
What are you thinking at the time?
What am I thinking? I'm thinking I'm going to die.
Roger Carroll had been charged with obstruction of justice in the disappearance of Bonnie Woodward. But now, 8 years later, he's being accused of something else altogether by, of all people, his wife of over 30 years, Monica.
March of 2018, we received information from the Jersey County Sheriff's Department that there was a domestic situation in which Roger had caused injury to Monica.
I didn't know his connection. Right? I didn't know this was the Bonnie Woodward suspect. So I went the next day, met her several hours from here where she was kind of hiding out and interviewed. Okay, we are recording.
He told me I was fat, disgusting, so fat and disgusting that nobody would want to have anything to do with me.
The first thing you notice on the dash cam is A, the injuries to her face, and B, beyond the injuries, just the fear.
She said for the most part it was a good marriage until there was some infidelity like a few years prior. And she had recently figured out more infidelity and then had filed for divorce.
He was really withdrawn after served him with the divorce papers. I thought he would be happy because just a couple weeks before he said, I want a divorce.
They had separate bedrooms, but while she slept in her bedroom, she not only locked the door, but she put a dresser up against the door because she was scared.
Monica tells Detective Nick Manns about the alleged attack, in which, as she's getting ready for work, she says Roger corners her in the laundry room.
Roger is looking out the garage door, like making sure Nathan has left. And he turned and he acted like he was going to have normal conversation. And he reached over to the back of my head, grabbed my hair, and jerked me, and then dragging me around by my hair with his right hand, he was hitting me in the head with the taser gun.
And how do you know it was a taser gun? What was it doing?
Because it shocked me.
So he drags it up your neck?
He drags it up my neck. He looked shocked. and I was screaming, "Roger, don't do this. Roger, don't do this." I started screaming, "Nathan, Nathan," screaming for Nathan as hard as I could, screaming for help.
Nathan, unfortunately,
blood smear.
All these red marks are from your fight with him.
These are from him.
During this time, Monica does what so many victims unfortunately have to do, but it's a survival thing, is how am I going to get out of the situation? And she starts to de-escalate it slowly, verbally de-escalate the situation.
I was just thinking, don't get him agitated, talk him down. And I said, "Roger, you've been a good dad. You were a good husband, but you're not the man that I married 30 years ago." And he'd said it before, he said, "I know, I'm not that same person." He said, "I am a monster." He said, "I have so much anger and hate in me, and I can't control it no more." He said, "At times I feel like I have the devil living inside me."
Eventually that got to the point where he allowed her to get up and get ready for work and go.
As soon as I got in my car, I hit the lock button, put it in reverse, and took out.
Then she provided us information that she knew him to possess firearms, and she believed him to be suicidal at the time.
He says, "I've been thinking about just going out into the woods and never coming back."
Detective Mann says he went to search for Roger the morning of the alleged attack.
We believe he's a danger, obviously, to her and to our community, but also to himself. So I'm driving down this road, which is Creek Road, which is where he lives. And this is actually, that would be his house at the time. He and Monica lived there. That was their home. I keep going up this hill. You can see it's pretty rugged terrain. I don't even realize at that time that this is his property. So I go up here and I go left and I drive across this field, and I get out of my car. And when I get up along this trail, I see something down there, and I keep moving closer, and it's him. Roger was lethargic. I felt in his jacket pocket, which turned out to be a bag of needles, of syringes. Then I found a vial of what I knew to be insulin. I asked him if he was diabetic, and he said no, that he had hurt his wife and that he was trying to kill himself. But I called my dispatch and said, "Send an ambulance this way."
Let the ambulance know. This guy's not diabetic. He took insulin.
Attention, Brighton Rescue, Creek Road, for 52-year-old male. Took an overdose of insulin and suicide attempt.
But what Detective Mann soon learns is that his fellow investigator, Scott Golicky, has been looking at Roger Carroll as Bonnie Woodward's possible killer.
Immediately, Scott and I said, the family's falling apart, and we have to jump now. This is our time.
Because at that point, you double down on every member of the Carroll family.
Right. We need a talker.
They need a talker, and they're about to get one. And investigators get a story they had not prepared for. Newly installed prosecutor Jennifer Mudge is working hard with police to try to solve Bonnie Woodward's cold case. They believe they can break it if a Carroll family member talks. As detectives are talking to Roger Carroll's wife, Monica, they get intriguing new info. She remembers her husband taking a peculiar interest in Bonnie Woodward's daily life before she disappeared.
Monica talked about conversations that she thought was odd about where specifically Bonnie worked, what type of work schedule she had.
I don't remember what shift she worked or, the days, but I remember those were in conversation. I just remember thinking that it was very odd that he's asking all these details.
She now is starting to put everything together and is fearing for her own life at the same time.
Looking back on it now, I've been scared for a long time, but I wasn't to the point to admit it yet.
But the really chilling words about Roger, that was still to come.
He said, "I have killed for you. I have hurt a lot of people. but I killed for you. And I think that's Bonnie.
Meanwhile, Roger is released from the hospital after his insulin overdose and is brought directly into police custody.
Sit right there.
Where Detective Galicki greets him again after 8 long years.
Roger, what are we doing? What's going on? Remember me, Scott Galicki.
So after all that, you sit down with Roger years later from the last interrogation.
Yes.
Is he a different man?
Yes, we both aged a lot, and probably me more than him. After the domestic, he was clearly suicidal. And so when I see him, it's not his best day. You know, I had to say a word, but if you want to hear me out, I think it might be worth your while, but it's your prerogative. You're driving this bus. I had started it with, hey, Roger, you don't have to say anything if you don't want, but we've opened this case. This train's coming down the road. I think what's going to happen now is that this is a homicide investigation, and it's moving in that direction. I was basically telling him charges on this case are now imminent. But some of the intimate details and the specific details, only you know. And it's the right thing to do for Bonnie herself, also the right thing for you. There's no way you're enjoying living with this.
But if Detective Galicki is counting on a crisis of conscience from Roger Carroll, he's about to be disappointed.
We've opened this case. This train's coming down the road. Like, I'm giving you an opportunity to try to mitigate the circumstances. Are you comfortable with the whole situation? Like, I mean,
well, no. I mean, I'm not going to talk to you. Call my attorney, please.
Like, I interviewed him for an hour and some change, and really for 55 minutes, he just didn't speak.
Since Roger completely clams up, they bring his wife Monica in again. And turns out she does have more to share.
So you had a feeling that something
went right?
Something happened. Otherwise, I think you would have questioned it. Your internal feelings.
Said that something wasn't right?
Yeah.
That things weren't right? When he said that he's killed people for me, to protect me and Nathan, I know that's not right. I know it's not right that he should kill someone, feel that he has the right to kill someone to protect me.
And you're not aware of anything else in your history with Roger or, with Nathan that he would be talking about other than Bonnie Woodward.
Right. The only person that come to my mind would be Bonnie.
Monica says Roger issues her a stark warning about Bonnie's family.
He made it sound like it'd be my fault if something happened to our family, if I ever talked. So I didn't want to be the one to be the cause of our family being torn apart. I didn't want to hear it. As I recall, I told him I didn't want to hear it.
We knew that Monica was not there at that time, and we were also pretty confident that she didn't show up until a day later.
That's when Monica describes approaching their son Nathan with her suspicions.
I told Nathan that Roger told me, I have killed for you. And he was like, don't ever repeat that, Mom. Don't ever repeat it.
But what might it take for Nathan to start talking? Investigators are drilling down on the Carroll family, and the story of what they think might have happened to Bonnie Woodward is beginning to take shape.
Monica, she's not present. She's not a co-defendant on the incident.
I honestly do believe that he did away with Bonnie Woodward. I don't know how. I don't know how.
We doubled down on the theory that Nathan was likely with Roger at the time that Bonnie disappeared.
Nathan was 16 years old at the time that this crime was committed. Nathan is now 24. You're talking about a kid versus an adult. So I think maybe you focus on him.
We made several attempts to talk to Nathan, and he refused to talk to law enforcement.
We served him with a subpoena to come testify in front of the grand jury. I made a decision to grant him immunity at the time if he would tell us the full truth. And then fate sort of took over from there.
What did he say that tipped his hand to you that he was about to spill the whole truth?
He held up the immunity paper and said, "This is good no matter what I tell you." And I said yes. He put his hands on the rail, and boy, that testimony was gripping.
He broke down and he started crying, and he said he was going to tell us everything.
That's kind of a thing maybe you see on TV with people breaking down in the courtroom and spilling the beans in the courtroom, but it really never happens. But it did.
Sitting in the room was 12 grand jurors, myself and Jennifer, and Nathan's attorney. It was absolute silence. You could hear the clock tick.
It's like watching the weight of the world being lifted off this young man's shoulders.
He told the entire story about what happened that day.
He says that he's on vacation with his whole family. They have Heather there. And his dad said to him the night before, "You and I are leaving early tomorrow." And they drove to Eunice Smith Nursing Home, and his dad said, "Good, she's at work."
Then after they get home, Roger changed clothes, clipped his fingernails, he shaved, and retrieved his Stoeger 9mm from the house and left Nathan there by himself.
He told Nathan he was going to get Bonnie. Nathan set up a tent in the backyard.
The tent in the backyard was essentially a death trap to lure Bonnie to the backyard and not into the residence.
He's eating lunch. Next thing he hears is 8 or 9 gunshots, and they're close. They're in his driveway. He walks outside, and that's when he sees feet with tennis shoes on and tan scrubs. There are a few things that stay with me, like he remembers that he was eating leftover deli meat sandwiches from Heather's graduation party. If you're making a story up, you don't go that detailed into what kind of lunch you're having.
But the next detail may be the most disturbing of all. Nathan tells the grand jury that his dad had him light a fire in the backyard and testifies he watched as his father loaded Bonnie's body into a bucket loader, a tractor with a scoop on the front of it, and bring her to that burn pit.
And they start a massive fire. It had to be stoked all day, all night, every couple of hours. And Roger had Nathan help him do that.
When you heard the scope of what he confessed to, what went through your mind?
I don't think we thought fire or burned on a brush pile.
Talk about being haunted.
Right, like not only is Roger creating a horrible thing to him, for him to live with, it seems like he created a horrible thing for his son to live with.
After his grand jury testimony, Nathan brings investigators back to the house. What you're about to see is the actual video police captured as Nathan brings them back to where he says the crime took place, a spot first identified 8 years earlier by cadaver dogs.
During our search in September of 2010, we had 60 acres that we had to worry about. Now we have a few hundred feet. Nathan, you've agreed to just walk us through a few areas that are of interest in our investigation involving your father and the investigation of missing person Bonnie Woodward. Nathan points out the back corner of the residence where he found Bonnie's body and saw her, where the shot had come from.
This is where she laid. I never saw the full body. I was standing over there. Okay. And I saw feet.
It was in that site that we did find a 9mm cartridge, which was significant because Nathan had identified that Roger had used a 9mm handgun ultimately that day in shooting Bonnie.
The second site that Nathan took law enforcement to was what we refer to as the burn pit.
Followed by the creek, where Nathan says he saw his dad dump Bonnie's ashes.
So we had a site number 3 for where this was dumped into the creek bed.
Was that tractor with the bucket end on it?
Correct. Little pieces of white things, but I don't know exactly what it was.
You don't know any idea what they were?
My best guess would be bone, but I don't know.
Law enforcement were able to find 27 pieces of what they believed to be bone fragment that were collected and sent off to the lab to see if any DNA or any connection could be made to Bonnie.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you.
Based on the version of events that Nathan gave, we felt comfortable charging Roger Carroll with first-degree murder of Bonnie Woodward.
A man linked in 2010 to the disappearance of Bonnie Woodward today has been charged with her murder.
I thought, wow. I mean, they're actually charging somebody for murder.
But not so fast. Some critical evidence will be unveiled in court, which could upend the case. The DNA on those bone fragments, it's not what police expected. Roger Carroll pleads not guilty to the murder of Bonnie Woodward, but he's facing some tall odds. He may just not understand how tall.
One of the key pieces of evidence turned out to be a sassafras tree.
Yes.
Tell me how you decided that you were going to try to bring that into the courtroom.
I'll be honest, we didn't decide it. It was kind of thrust upon us by an investigator in Jersey County, and all of us were kind of like, yeah, go ahead, whatever.
It isn't every day a tree becomes a star witness in a murder trial, but this was never your ordinary everyday case. So how would it factor in? Well, that and over 100 other key pieces of evidence are finally being presented in court, nearly a decade after Bonnie Woodward went missing.
I thought everybody'd give up. I mean, I didn't know what else to do, and him being charged with Bonnie's murder gave me life again. And I thought, let's do it.
The why question is very difficult in this case because there's not a clear-cut motive.
Given what you were up against, the fact that you didn't have a body, you didn't really have a motive, you didn't have a weapon, how confident were you that you could get a guilty verdict?
My partner and I said this is just never going to get any better. We have everything we're ever going to get, so we thought we'd swing the bat.
In my years as a prosecutor, I did 5 cases where the victim's body wasn't found. And it's a gamble. So sometimes what you'll do in lieu of that is you have the person declared dead. It can, depending on the case, really help the jury.
We took note that now it had been 8 years that Bonnie had not been seen. So one of the first steps we had to take was to have Bonnie officially declared deceased. And we're able to obtain a death certificate based on the circumstantial evidence that she had not been seen.
My name is Jennifer Schock, and I was juror number 2.
What had you heard about the case?
I hadn't. I truly came in there not knowing anything prior.
And when you realized how big a case you were deliberating on, what was your reaction?
A little nervous to have that much pressure put on me to basically decide somebody's future.
In opening statements, the prosecution detailed what they say happened during Bonnie's kidnapping, including the fact that Roger Carroll's fingerprints were found on her car. They also brought in Roger Carroll's suicide attempt.
The jury must decide if Roger is guilty of first-degree murder. The earlier charges against him and Monica for harboring a runaway, Heather, would be dismissed. The defense opened up by vowing to poke holes in the state's case, particularly taking aim at the son, Nathan Carroll, telling the jury his story changed only after being granted immunity, or what they called a golden ticket.
Nathan was on the stand for a good 2 to 3 hours, maybe more. I mean, just like in the grand jury, you could hear a pin drop in that courtroom while he's testifying.
Because family secrets are spilling out in this courtroom.
Yeah, I mean, he's telling a cold, hard, disgusting story that clearly there was no doubt that was truthful.
Nathan testifies that he heard gunshots and told the jury in gruesome detail how he helped his father burn Bonnie's body.
I think Nathan realized his dad tried to kill his mom.
And that's just crossing a line. If you think about Nathan, he is a child. And he's being controlled by dad, and he witnesses something horrific.
The son, Nathan, testifies. And I'm told that it was a very stirring, powerful testimony. What do you remember of it?
I remember that after Nathan testified, it was completely silent. It was just a silence through the whole entire courtroom afterwards.
Nathan's testimony doesn't really make sense. Nathan keeps saying he's reluctant, he did it anyway. Why would Nathan help his father do it? What's in it for him? It's a big mystery.
Nathan can be hard to read. He was ashamed.
He knew what he had done was wrong.
He knew what his father had done was wrong, and he knew that helping clean up was wrong. He was very remorseful.
A lot of the trial was built around corroborating what he was telling us was the truth. We didn't want the jury to just have to take Nathan's word for it. We wanted to show that it fit and matched all the forensic evidence in this case.
But the defense just keeps chipping away at that evidence, including those 27 bone fragments that were found on the property. In fact, there's a rather big bombshell in store for the jury.
Bones were found, but they're not the bones of the deceased.
We were never actually able to find DNA of Bonnie Woodward on these bone fragments. We were able to say that these were bone fragments believed to be of human origin, but we could not definitively say that they were Bonnie Woodward's.
In fact, it's not clear if they're human bones or animal bones, or whether they're bones that were from an Indian burial many years ago.
Prosecutors argued that the bones were degraded by the fire, which Nathan described, that burned Bonnie's body. And to prove that there actually was a fire on the property, the prosecution used an unexpected method and witness.
Nathan identified the burn spot on this ridge behind the house. And where the burn spot was, there's a sassafras tree. The sassafras tree has a scarred spot on the bark several feet up the tree.
So we go over there, cut down the tree.
Cut slices out of the tree. We sent him off to a botanist. He examined the tree, its age, its growth rings, and said that tree was damaged in the early growing season of 2010, spring or summer.
That tree damage, according to the testimony of a botanist from the University of Wisconsin, was reminiscent of a fire and appears to have happened at the same time Nathan claimed Bonnie's body had been burned.
As a prosecutor, why is that critical?
That fire, others have testified, had to be quite large to burn a body like that, down to the fragments that we found.
There's a question, was there actually evidence of a fire? Or is it a fire around the time of 2010? Or is it not a fire? That's questionable.
Heather Woodward, Bonnie's stepdaughter, takes the stand and tells jurors that she told Roger about Bonnie's whereabouts and her work schedule.
How did Heather do on the stand? What was her testimony like?
It was pretty short, and I think the way that Heather was in the police interviews is the way she was on the stand.
I never want nothing to happen to Bonnie. I mean, sometimes, she's mean, but I wouldn't do that to her.
Her testimony, it pretty much tracked with that, but it was clear to those involved that she had not participated in her mother's death.
What made her cry on the stand, do you remember?
Every time she cried, it was because she said, I never wanted this to happen to Bonnie. I never meant for this to happen to Bonnie.
Bonnie's boyfriend, Gary, took to the stand too and told the jury about what was lost when Bonnie's life was cut short.
He wouldn't look back at me for nothing. I kept looking across where he was, and he wouldn't look at me, so I started talking to the jury to my right, and I said he took away a good woman, mother. I let him know what kind of person Bonnie was.
I have an old supervisor, before I started my very first no body case, which I'll never forget, he said, always remember, the jury can see the soul of your victim reflected in the eyes of those who love them.
When it was their turn, the defense team laid out a case that pointed the finger at Nathan as Bonnie's killer and argued that without him and the so-called golden ticket, the state's case was just circumstantial.
Nathan didn't have a choice. If Nathan didn't help his father dispose of this crime, Nathan's a dead man. And let's not forget, he was a barely 16-year-old boy.
Roger did not testify at trial. It's his choice whether or not to testify, and he decided not to.
He was advised not to testify. Many attorneys advise their clients not to testify because, for one thing, they think it will shift the burden. They think the jury is going to look at whether they believe the defendant, and suddenly the defendant has to prove his innocence, which he normally doesn't have to do.
After 5 days, the case is now in the hands of the jury.
It was back and forth all the way.
Those moments are always very tense.
We would get close, and then somebody would say something else, and then it would throw everything off.
What was the hang-up then?
The cases have been presented, and now the verdict is in the hands of the jury.
It was back and forth all the way, truly, till the end. We were back and forth. And we thought we would get close, and then somebody would say something else, and then it would throw everything off.
What was the hang-up then?
We all agreed that he definitely had a hand in this. The hang-up was basically, did he do it, or was he covering for someone else that did it?
When you finally reached a decision, what was the feeling in the room?
Relief. We truly did our due diligence on deliberating correctly.
We were notified that the jury had a verdict, so we all went back to the courtroom, and those moments are always very tense.
Roger Carroll was found guilty of first-degree murder.
And so when the verdict was read, how did the courtroom respond?
Crying from both sides, happy on Bonnie's side, sad on Roger's side, and again, Roger never made any emotion. He just sat there.
He didn't even react?
Mm-mm.
What went through your mind when you heard the verdict?
Bonnie, that finally she could be at rest. I don't believe in the word closure. It doesn't exist in my mind, but that Bonnie can now rest peacefully.
By the time of sentencing, the charges against Roger for domestic violence and obstruction were dropped.
At the sentencing hearing, Roger was given the opportunity to make a statement to the court, and he chose to use that time to be defiant.
He said, I don't have anything to be sorry for. I won't apologize because I've done nothing wrong.
And that says a lot about his mindset.
Sure does.
When I heard the jury found him guilty, that was a blessing to my ears to hear. Wish he could have got more time than he did.
He was charged with first-degree murder while using a firearm. He received 40 years in the Department of Corrections for the murder, plus 25 years for the gun enhancement.
At least they did lock him up. I give him that. The police finally making him pay for what he did. Roger Carroll robbed her kids, her grandkids, friends, family. But we won't never forget her, and we won't forget him.
People describe her as somebody who had a really loving heart.
Oh no, she definitely did. Like, even, especially with family, like, didn't matter what you did. She would figure out a way to just make it better.
You really loved her.
Oh yeah, like, she was great.
Sometimes I'll look up at the sky and tell her I don't know if I'll be there, but I hope someday I will and see you again.
So many of Bonnie's loved ones wishing they could see her again. Bonnie Woodward's killer, Roger Carroll, is appealing his conviction.
He was granted permission for that appeal by the Illinois Supreme Court, and his case will likely be argued this fall. That's our program for tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Deborah Roberts.
And I'm David Muir from all of us here at 2020 and ABC News. Good night.